Sarah always believed in fairy tales. Ever since she was a little girl, she had imagined a love that would sweep her off her feet, one filled with laughter, passion, and trust. She wanted a man who would hold her hand in the rain, kiss her forehead when she was sad, and stand beside her through every storm. When she met Ryan, she thought she had finally found that kind of love. He had walked into her life like a dream, tall, handsome, and impossibly charming. His smile could melt anyone's heart, and his voice carried the kind of confidence that made people stop and listen. From the very first date, he made her feel like she was the only woman in the world. Their love story unfolded like a perfect novel. Lavish dates at candlelit restaurants, spontaneous weekend getaways, and thoughtful surprises that left Sarah breathless. He was everything she had prayed for, and when he got down on one knee and asked her to marry him, she had said yes without hesitation. For the first few years, their marriage was a dream. Ryan worked as a business consultant, often traveling for work, but he always made time for Sarah. He spoiled her with expensive gifts, diamond bracelets, designer handbags, perfumes from Paris. He would come home with roses, kiss her deeply, and whisper, "You're the best thing that ever happened to me." Sarah had never felt so loved. She would wake up every morning wrapped in his arms, feeling safe, wanted. She trusted him completely. But trust is a dangerous thing when given to the wrong person. Because the man she had given her heart to was hiding a secret, a dark, twisted betrayal that would soon turn her world upside down. A change in the air. It happened slowly. At first, it was just little things she brushed off as stress from work. Ryan started coming home later than usual. He always had a reason: the new project is a nightmare, or my boss is pushing me hard. Sarah, being the supportive wife, never questioned it. She would greet him with a warm smile, rub his shoulders, and tell him to rest. But then, he started bringing his phone everywhere. Even to the bathroom. It never used to be like that. Ryan had always been casual with his phone, leaving it on the kitchen counter, on the bed, or even handing it to Sarah when he needed her to check directions. Now, it was always in his pocket. When she walked into the room, he would quickly close whatever app he was using. When she sat beside him on the couch, he would angle the screen away. She tried not to let it bother her. After all, she wasn't the jealous type. But doubt is like a seed. Once planted, it grows. And then, came the biggest change of all. Ryan stopped touching her. The man who once couldn't keep his hands off her now barely kissed her goodnight. If she reached for him in bed, he would turn away, muttering something about being tired. Sarah tried to convince herself it was just a phase. That every marriage had ups and downs. But deep inside, a small voice whispered, "Something is wrong." And that voice refused to be silenced. The night everything changed. It was a Wednesday night. Ryan had come home late, again. He barely ate dinner, barely looked at her. He mumbled something about an early morning meeting and went to take a shower. Sarah sat on the bed, scrolling through her phone, trying to ignore the growing anxiety in her chest. Then, she saw it. Ryan's phone, sitting on the nightstand. Unlocked. Her heart pounded. She wasn't the type to snoop. She had never once gone through his messages, never once doubted him. But something about tonight felt different. Her fingers trembled as she reached for the phone. Just as she picked it up, the screen lit up with a message. "I can't wait to see you again, love, red heart." The air was sucked out of her lungs. Her entire body went numb. Her mind screamed at her to stay calm, but her hands were already moving, scrolling, searching, uncovering the truth she never wanted to see. The messages were endless. "Last night was amazing, baby. I miss you. I hate lying to her, but we'll be together soon." Sarah's vision blurred. Her breathing was shallow. Ryan was cheating. The love of her life. Her husband. The man who had promised to be hers forever. It felt like the ground had been ripped out from beneath her. She could hear the shower still running, the sound of water crashing against the tiles. Ryan had no idea. No idea that in the span of a few minutes, Sarah's heart had shattered into a million pieces. She should have screamed. She should have stormed into the bathroom and demanded answers. But she didn't. Because in that moment, something inside her snapped. She wasn't going to cry. She wasn't going to beg. She was going to destroy him. And he would never see it coming. The next morning, Sarah acted normal. She kissed Ryan goodbye, made his coffee just the way he liked it, and smiled as he left for work. Then, she got to work. She opened his laptop. Searched his emails. Checked his bank statements. What she found made her sick. Ryan wasn't just having an affair. He was living a double life. For the past 3 years, he had been seeing another woman, Lisa. He had another apartment in another city. He had told Lisa he was separated, that he was only married on paper. Sarah clicked through their pictures. Ryan and Lisa on a beach. Ryan and Lisa at a fancy restaurant. Ryan holding her the way he used to hold Sarah. Sarah clenched her fists. This wasn't just betrayal. This was deception on the highest level. Ryan had been splitting his time, splitting his money, splitting his love. For 3 years, he had been playing both of them. Sarah's hands were shaking, but not from sadness. From rage. Ryan thought he was in control. He thought he could lie, cheat, and get away with it. But he had underestimated one thing. Sarah was no fool. And if he thought she was going to walk away quietly, he was dead wrong. This was just the beginning. Because Sarah wasn't going to leave him. She was going to make him suffer. And when she was done with him, he would wish he had never met her. Sarah sat at the kitchen table, staring at the steaming cup of coffee in front of her. She hadn't slept. How could she? The images of Ryan with another woman played on repeat in her mind, the way he smiled at Lisa, the way he held her, the way he had the audacity to live an entirely separate life behind Sarah's back. Every moment of their marriage now felt like a cruel joke. All the business trips, the late nights at the office, the mysterious bank transfers, everything suddenly made sense. Ryan wasn't just cheating. He had built a life with someone else. And Sarah was about to tear it all down. The first clues. Sarah picked up her phone and opened the screenshot she had taken of Ryan's message from the previous night. "I can't wait to see you again, love, red heart." The words burned into her soul. She took a deep breath. Now wasn't the time to break down. Now was the time to investigate. She grabbed her laptop and logged into their joint bank account. Ryan had always handled the finances, and Sarah had never questioned it. She had trusted him blindly. But now, as she scrolled through months of transactions, her stomach twisted in horror. Thousands of dollars. Spent in a city 2 hours away. Hotels. Fancy restaurants. Jewelry stores. Sarah clicked on one transaction, a payment to an apartment rental company. Her blood ran cold. Ryan had an apartment in that city. Sarah exhaled sharply. Not a hotel. Not a temporary stay. An apartment. A home. A home he had never mentioned. A home he was keeping with someone else. Lisa wasn't just his mistress. Lisa was his second wife. Tracking his lies. Sarah wasn't just going to take this lying down. She opened a new private browser tab and searched for Ryan's name on social media. His main profile came up, the one she knew. The one where he posted happy pictures of them together, looking like the perfect husband. But then, she found another account. One she had never seen before. Her fingers trembled as she clicked on it. It was private. Of course, it was. But the profile picture was unmistakable, Ryan and Lisa. Sarah's entire body felt like it was on fire. She had proof now. Solid, undeniable proof. But proof wasn't enough. She needed more. The fake profile, getting closer to the truth. Sarah took a deep breath and created a new account, a fake one. She used a stock photo, made up a name, and followed Lisa's profile. Then, she sent her a message. "Hey. You don't know me, but I think we have someone in common. Ryan." Lisa responded almost instantly. "OMG, yes. How do you know him?" Sarah's pulse pounded in her ears. She forced her hands to steady as she typed. "He's a good friend of mine. Just wanted to ask, how long have you two been together?" Lisa sent back a smiley emoji and replied. 3 years. Can you believe it? We're planning to move in together soon." Sarah stared at the screen. 3 years. While Sarah had been cooking Ryan dinner. While she had been waiting up for him at night. While she had been loving him with all her heart. He had been telling another woman he wanted to live with her. Sarah closed her eyes, her hands gripping the edge of the table. He was planning to leave her. But not before she made him regret ever being born. Sarah had never been a vengeful person. She had always believed in kindness, in second chances, in the idea that love was worth fighting for. But this? This was beyond betrayal. Ryan had lied to her for 3 years. He had stolen her time, her love, her trust, and given it to another woman. No, she wasn't just going to walk away. She was going to make him suffer. And the best part? He would never see it coming. For the next few weeks, Sarah played her role flawlessly. She continued being the perfect wife. She cooked his favorite meals. She laughed at his jokes. She kissed him goodnight, pretending nothing had changed. And Ryan? He had no idea. He still believed he was in control. That Sarah was oblivious. That his double life was safe. He had no idea that every time he stepped out of the house, Sarah was tracking him. She installed a location tracker on his phone. Every time he told her he was working late, she watched as his location popped up in the other city. She hacked into his email. Read every message. She followed Lisa's social media and took screenshots of everything, every date, every vacation, every post where Lisa called Ryan the love of her life. Sarah kept smiling, kept pretending, kept waiting. Because revenge? Revenge had to be perfect. One evening, as Ryan sat on the couch scrolling through his phone, Sarah leaned in and kissed his cheek. "Baby," she said sweetly, "I was thinking, we should go away for a weekend. Just the two of us. You've been so stressed with work." Ryan hesitated for a second. Sarah knew exactly why. Because his work trips weren't work trips at all. They were weekends with Lisa. "That sounds amazing, love," he finally said, smiling. "Let's do it." Sarah kissed him again, her heart pounding with excitement. The trap was set. Because this wasn't just a romantic getaway. It was going to be Ryan's worst nightmare. Sarah didn't just plan a private trip. She planned a grand anniversary party. She booked a luxury venue. Sent out invitations. She invited Ryan's closest friends. His family. His work colleagues. And most importantly, she invited Lisa. Lisa, who had no idea that Ryan was a married man. Lisa, who still believed Ryan was going to leave his wife and start a new life with her. Sarah had arranged for everything. A beautiful dinner. A romantic setting. And at the perfect moment, she would reveal the truth. Ryan thought he was walking into a celebration. But really? He was walking into his own destruction. Ryan had no idea what was coming. As far as he knew, his wife was still clueless, his affair was still a secret, and his double life was perfectly intact. He had no idea that Sarah knew everything. And he certainly didn't know that his entire world was about to collapse, in front of everyone he knew. That wasn't. The night of the party, Sarah dressed to kill. She wore a sleek black dress that hugged her body perfectly, her makeup flawless, her hair styled in soft waves. Tonight, she wasn't the betrayed wife. Tonight, she was the woman in control. Ryan, oblivious to the storm about to hit him, wrapped an arm around her waist. You look stunning, baby. Sarah smiled. So do you, darling. The venue was breathtaking, golden chandeliers, elegant floral arrangements, soft music playing in the background. Their guests, a mix of family, friends, and Ryan's coworkers, chatted and laughed, sipping champagne. Everything was perfect. Then, Lisa arrived. Sarah spotted her the moment she walked in, tall, blonde, confident. Lisa looked around, confused. She had no idea she had just walked into her lover's anniversary party. Sarah's pulse pounded. Everything was in place. Now? It was time to set the world on fire. Sarah raised her champagne glass and tapped it with a spoon. The room quieted. Everyone turned to her. Ryan, standing beside her, smiled, completely unaware that his life was about to be destroyed. Thank you all for being here tonight, Sarah began, her voice smooth and controlled. I wanted to take a moment to celebrate the man I love. A man who has been my world for the past 5 years. Ryan beamed, squeezing her hand. Sarah held back a laugh. Oh, you fool. But, she continued, there's something I've recently discovered about my dear husband, something that I think we all should know. The air shifted. Ryan's smile faltered. Ryan, Sarah turned to him, her eyes burning with fire, would you like to introduce your girlfriend to the crowd? Silence. Dead silence. Ryan froze. The room shifted as eyes turned toward Lisa. Lisa, confused at first, frowned. Wait, what? Sarah let out a soft, almost amused laugh. Oh, you didn't know? Ryan here is my husband. Not my ex. Not separated. My actual, legally wedded husband. Lisa's face drained of color. Ryan's hand shook. Sarah, Oh, please, Sarah cut him off. Save your excuses. Because I have proof. She reached for the projector remote and pressed play. And then, the entire world saw the truth. Photos. Videos. Screenshots of texts. All of it. Projected onto the giant screen in front of everyone. Lisa gasped. Ryan's mother covered her mouth in shock. His colleagues muttered in disbelief. And Ryan? Ryan stood there, completely exposed. His perfect world? Gone. His lies? Unraveled. Sarah turned to Lisa. Did he tell you he loved you? Lisa, blinking back tears, nodded. Yeah, Sarah whispered. Leaning in close. He told me the same thing. Lisa stared at Ryan like he was a stranger. You lied to me. Ryan opened his mouth, but no words came out. Sarah smiled. Cheers to my lying, cheating husband, she said, raising her glass. Then, she threw her champagne right in his face. The room erupted. And just like that? Ryan's world burned to the ground. The moment the champagne hit Ryan's face, gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone in the back let out a low whistle. Lisa took a step away from Ryan like he was something toxic. Sarah could feel the weight of every single person's eyes on them, watching, judging. Ryan wiped his face, his breath coming in short, panicked bursts. Sarah, please, just let me explain. Explain what? Sarah's voice was calm, steady. How you managed to juggle 2 lives for 3 years? How you lied to my face every single day? How you took vows with me, then made promises to her? She turned to Lisa. Tell me, Lisa. Did he promise you a future? A house? Maybe even kids? Lisa was shaking now. He told me he was getting a divorce. That you were the one holding things up. Sarah let out a bitter laugh. Of course he did. She looked at Ryan, who was now the color of ash. Do you ever get tired, Ryan? Keeping up with all the lies? Or do you actually enjoy the thrill of deceiving people? The murmurs in the room grew louder. Ryan's colleagues were whispering, his mother looked like she might faint, and his father just shook his head in disgust. Lisa suddenly turned to Sarah. I swear, I didn't know. If I had. Sarah held up a hand. I don't blame you. He manipulated both of us. She exhaled, letting the weight of the moment sink in. But I do have one more surprise. She reached into her purse and pulled out a folder. This, she said, handing it to Ryan, is a divorce agreement. Already signed by me. Ryan's eyes widened in shock. Sarah, we don't have to do this. Oh, but we do, she said, voice sharper now. And don't worry. I've made sure you walk away with absolutely nothing. I spoke to a lawyer weeks ago. Since you were using our joint finances for your little secret life, that's considered marital fraud. Which means I get everything. The house, the savings, even the car you love so much. Ryan's breathing turned erratic. No, you can't. I already have. She turned to the crowd. And just so everyone knows, Ryan also has quite a bit of debt. I found out about that too. She smirked. Seems like he wasn't just lying to us. He was lying to himself. Lisa's face twisted in disgust. You're a fraud. You're nothing. Ryan turned to her, desperate. Lisa, please, I love you. Don't, she snapped, stepping back. Don't say that to me. Not after all this. Sarah could almost feel the exact moment Ryan realized he had lost everything. His marriage. His reputation. His mistress. His financial security. He had spent years crafting this perfect illusion, but in a single night, Sarah had torn it apart, piece by piece. Enjoy your new life, Ryan, she said smoothly, turning on her heel. Oh wait. You don't have one anymore. And with that, she walked away, head high, leaving Ryan standing in the ruins of his own destruction.